Hey everybody, Ben here from the Bonehead podcast, and welcome to Special Teams Sunday. Every week we get together and we have a look at some of the best unofficial teams in Blood Bowl. Blood Bowl is the best game out there. It's inherently unbalanced, and we've already got 29 kind of official teams in Blood Bowl, but out there are hundreds of other great ways to play, great teams. We love it on our podcast, building teams, changing things, trying to play more different Blood Bowl. It's fantastic. So Fumble has a secret league, and in the secret league there's like 100 teams. There's a couple of other things out there as well, but we are looking at some of the secret league teams at the moment. Today we are going to be looking at the Dwarf Slayer teams. So not the one from the My Dugout app, if you guys had that when Blood Bowl was released in 2016. Not that team. Fumble has a Dwarf Slayer team, and I was unlucky enough to play against it in our league the other week. So let's have a look at Dwarf Slayer teams in Blood Bowl. So this team is available to play on Fumble right now in the Secret League, or just chuck them into your Fumble leagues. It is for Blood Bowl 2016 rules, so we try very hard to do Blood Bowl 2020 content only, but this does harken back because Fumble, which is a great but quite old school way of playing Blood Bowl on your computer, is still running the Blood Bowl 2016 rule set, so hasn't upgraded to 2020 yet, because it's a ton of work, and Krista is doing his best, and it's going to take a little while, I think. So we are still playing some 2016 rules, whether it's Blood Bowl 2 or on Fumble. So the Slayer teams here are going to have the old school rules. Now the roster here, they've tried to take Dwarves, change some bits up to make it a little bit less samey, so it adds a little bit of variation. And this Slayer roster here, I'm a huge fan of. I think it's really fun. So 0 to 16 linemen. These linemen are similar to Dwarves. No tackle, less armor, and a little bit more movement, basically. And then you've got 0 to 2 Slayer runners, which are also very similar players to the Dwarf roster. Let me grab that up here. So Slayer runners, 6'3", 3'8", 90k, thick skull, dauntless, sure hands. So they are runners with dauntless. Then you've got 0 to 2 Slayers on the team, 90k, 5'3", 2'8", thick skull, block, frenzy, dauntless. They are your standard Slayers, 0 to 2 of those. But this is just one of my favourite player designs of all time. They are horrifically powerful, but they're not over the top. So Giant Slayers, 0 to 2 on this team, 110k apiece. Movement 5, which is pretty shifty for a dwarf. Strength 4, Edge 2, Armour 8, Thick Skull, Frenzy, Dauntless, no block. They've got Juggernaut. So you've got 2 Strength 4 Frenzy guys with Juggernaut. So they are the ones you want to be blitzing with every single turn. And then you've got 0 to 1 Doomseeker, which is a movement 4, strength 7, edge 1, armor 8, no hands, ball and chain, secret weapon. So this dwarf team has a ball and chain on it as well. So you've got standard light dwarf lineman, a little bit faster, a little bit softer, no tackle. Like, I think we can all agree that's a good thing. 0 to 2 runners that have dauntless, that's fine. Slayers, 2 of those, love Slayers. Slayers are great, but movement 5, they're pretty balanced. Giant Slayers. That strength 4 is awesome and really makes this team kind of crunchy. You're like, I've got 2 standard Slayers and 2 strength 4 Slayers. That's my offensive front. And then you've got that Doomseeker for ball and chain. Really interesting mix, very different to Dwarves, but still very combat focused. So first up, we've got the linemen here. So general and strength on a primary makes them very dwarf-like, but movement 4, standard dwarf, strength 3, edge 2, armor 8, block, dauntless, and thick skull. So basically they lose tackle and gain dauntless, lose an armor, and lose 10k. So they come slightly cheaper. They've got that dauntless to really make you feel like they are actually fledgling Slayers. So Dwarf Slayers are shamed dwarves that are just hell-bent on trying to find a great way to die. Okay, bringing lots of honor in combat means that they are going to go after the biggest, baddest things they can do. Dauntless is bang on the best way to describe how Slayers go. Dauntless and Frenzy is just the perfect combination. And these guys, as they're starting out on their Slayer journey, that Dauntless isn't going to come up that often, but what it does do is they've got block, they've got dauntless. So against strength 4 focus teams, so Black Orcs in the New World, Chaos Warriors, Nurgle, they are going to be able to brawl 1-to-1 with a lot of the kind of stronger blockers out there, and it gives you a really good chance against big guys. Then we've got the runners. So 0-2 of these guys, general and strength again. Passing access only on a double here. So I'm pretty sure the entire team, if you're looking for a dodger or leader, you're going to be paying double stats for it. Double skills, sorry. 90k, movement 6, strength 3, edge 3, armor 8, standard stats for a dwarf runner. Dauntless, sure hands, thick skull. So pick up that extra skill with Dauntless to just give you that Slayer vibe. So the runners here at movement 6 and edge 3 are incredibly useful players. Because they've got general and strength, they can turn into your kind of actual blitzers for the team. There's no frenzy there. So these guys picking up block, first of all, means you've got a movement 6 dwarf blitzer, essentially, if you're looking in the old way. Now, armor 8 is a little bit less than you would classically have for dwarf, but thick skull is going to keep them on the pitch most of the time. You don't have an easy leader caddy here. You're not looking to pass with these guys at all. Sure hands is going to do a great job of protecting that ball, and honestly, first skill is block. And then you've got the Slayers. So these are classic Slayers. They're straight from the Dwarf Blood Bowl team. 0-2 of these guys, general and strength on ordinary, 90k a piece. 5, 3, 2, 8 standard Dwarf Slayer stats. Block, Dauntless, Frenzy, Thick Skull. These guys are fantastic. I personally think that Slayers are massively underrated. That Frenzy can get them into trouble, but they've got Dauntless, they've got Block, and with Thick Skull, they kind of get kept around long enough if it all goes really badly. The fact you can get 2 on this team means you still get that effective blitzer thing. It adds a little bit of risk to playing dwarves. So the whole build with this team is you're going to manage these players with frenzy, and you're going to have to use your standard guys who on this team are less strong. No wait, they're just softer, to kind of balance it out. It's kind of like a beautiful hybrid between Norse and dwarves of old. So the Slayers just fit in absolutely right. They kind of become not your blitzers, because we're going to look at the blitzer guys next, but these do a very good job of backfilling, and honestly, on the edge of a corner or something like that, they're going to punch a hole. Now these guys are your blitzers. Okay, so I love strength 4 players. Ulf Warreners are awesome. Strength 4 frenzy players are just houses. Okay, they often come with no negatraits, but they're 2-die blocking almost everybody, and these giant slayers are mean. They are really mean. Movement 5, pretty shifty for a dwarf. Like I said, strength 4, frenzy, dauntless, thick skull. These guys are going to be 2-die blocking almost everybody. You're gonna have to pair them up if they go big guy hunting, but big guy hunting on a 2+, it's going to be 1 dice. Now, no block, but they do have general and strength, so you get them blocked straight away. Not a bad way to do it. They've got strength access, so Mighty Blow can also be a great way to go, especially with things like Troll Slayers, because they're throwing twice as many dice. They're throwing that Frenzy block. They've got that second attack. You're more likely to take somebody down, and that Mighty Blow is just going to mean that they basically stay there. So when it comes to these players, Juggernaut, it really does encourage you to go for that cheeky blitz, and you've got a ton of great players on this team. This team is made entirely of good players, but having a strength 4 blitzer and a bunch of really tough solid player, it just means you can punch exactly where you want to, and that Jugs overrides stand firm, which is something I didn't consider when I played against this team with my nobility team. I played the rest of my season thinking I dominate the sideline, this is fine, I'm just going to stand firm, I'm going to, you know. But no, it all went wrong. It all went very wrong thanks to these guys just blitzing around with Jugs, just disappearing that stand firm, and just with 2 frenzy blocks at 2 dice apiece because they're strength 4, that was just many of my players getting surfed off until I figured out, oh, this is really bad. So Jugs is a massively useful skill to take away other players' tier 2 skills. But honestly, once you get them blocked, they just start farming casualties anyway. You can put them on the line at strength 4, thick skull, armor 8. With block, they are going to do some serious damage. You're going to end up with 2 strength 4 block frenzy dauntless guys and 2 strength 3 block dauntless frenzy guys, and then you're just going to be able to blitz wherever you want, chucking some guard on your lineman. This team starts to brew up and it becomes a slayer of teams. But wait, there's more. There's a ball and chain. So the ball and chain is something I didn't actually get to play against because it was missed next game. But 80k for a movement 4 ball and chain is an absolute flipping bargain. This team doesn't need this player at all, but starting out with it, is just so much fun. Okay, it's expensive. It's the same cost as another player. Okay, but it's secret weapon, ball and chains, no hands, secret weapon. It's going to be gone after one drive. But if you receive, you get to just control that ball, and because you do have dwarf tendencies here, in that you've got a pretty solid bunch of linemen, you're going to be able to control the game, and that 2-1 grind mentality means that you can plow away with a movement 4. Okay, movement 4. Most ball and chains are movement 3. This is 33% more speedy. Honestly, this is just going to crew its way through stuff, and with strength and access, honestly, going straight to Mighty Blow is going to be absolutely murderous. And you start to build up this team, you start to build up this picture of, right, I've got ball and chain ransacking the line for 4 movements, and because dwarves don't use a lot of rerolls very often, probably 5 or 6 squares with a couple of cheeky go for it, that's a ton of 2 to 3 die blocks. Once this guy gets Mighty Blow, that's a ton of 2 to 3 Mighty Blow blocks. Then you've got the Frenzy Slayers. Then you've got the Frenzy Giant Slayers. This team throws block dice like, I don't know, Aaron Rodgers throws touchdowns, but just does it in the same way as, I don't know, punching something repeatedly into submission. This team is murderous, and I love the Doomseeker. I do think it is a little bit too cheap, but man, it's so fun. So you've convinced your commissioner to let you run the Slayer team in your league, and you're going to start out with 1100, with a straight million to start your team with. What do you take? So I've got kind of 2 alternate rosters here for you. This is the one I think Ian went with, and this is the one I think is the best one. There is one glaring weakness, which we'll come to in a second. So 4 linemen, 2 runners, 2 sure hands guys. Eventually they get block. Movement 6, edge 3, block-in dwarves. Winning. 2 slayers, you need those guys. They're just fantastic. They brew up, they get Mighty Blow guard, they work together and murder things. 2 giant slayers, they get block, then they become block, jugs, dauntless, strength 4, frenzy, machines. They're going to score some casualties and go into Mighty Blow as well. But block on those guys first means you can deploy them on the line and not just blitz with them. The Doomseeker, you've got to take it. It's just so much fun. This is what the standard dwarf team is missing. They've got the Death Roller. The Death Roller should just be a more Mighty Blow. Should just be a ball and chain. It would be wicked fun instead of being the price of 1/5 of a team. Anyway, 80k, Doomseeker, it gets Mighty Blow, and then look at this roster. You've got guard, block, Mighty Blow. Is this a dwarf team? Yes, it is. And is it appropriately named as a Slayer? Yes. 2 rerolls here, though, is going to be your downside. Like I said, I've got 2 rosters for you, and the vulnerability of this one is that Doomseeker is only going to be around for 1 drive. So if you have to kick the ball away and you're playing against an agility team, you better hope your defense is good, because if they break through and you are then playing with the Doomseeker out, you are playing down a player. However, it's a dwarf team. They've all got thick skull, they've got reasonable armor, you're not going to suffer too many casualties in the game. And in a league setting, it's just easy to go and buy a 60k lineman. What you can do instead is buy a lineman and then add the Doomseeker afterwards. That's potentially the more balanced way of doing it. And if you want to start off the league with your 3rd reroll, what you can do is downgrade the Doomseeker and the Giant Slayer into lineman. You've got a little less fun, but you've got more consistency. It's really up to you at that point. Now, this roster, when did I take it on? Week 5, week 6. Okay, so it had a few games under the belt. There were some skills starting to appear. They were really simple ones. Runner, block, that kind of stuff. Mighty Blow on a dude. And they start brewing up a little bit slow because they're only really getting casualties. So round about game 6, you're going to start seeing skills start to brew up. MVPs are going to start to land. As soon as those linemen start to get guard, they can start being really effectively paired up with your frenzy pieces. And if you've got 4 frenzy pieces and 4 guard pieces, you are throwing dice seamlessly, shamelessly, and flawlessly forever. And then all you've got to do is wait to get Mighty Blow, and then you just press delete. Okay, so I've sold you on this team being a ton of fun. How do you go around getting it onto the table? So Games Workshop do Age of Sigmar. In Age of Sigmar, they have essentially a Slayer army, the Fire Slayers. just go get some of them. One box of these dudes will get you plenty enough alignment. You've got Slayers from the Dwarf team. I would probably recommend just using the Runners from the Dwarf team as well. It makes them different enough. You got your Slayers will, I don't know, you just get so much modelling opportunity, and because it is quite a small team, you just get to do this. And when it comes to converting your Doomslayer, the Doomslayer is basically just one dude with two massive axes attached to chains, and he's spinning around. With all these weapons, honestly, this champion at the front is going to be good enough to be a Doomslayer. Snip the weapons off everybody else for linemen, and you're practically there. Do some fancy modelling to get your Giant Slayers, perhaps. I don't know. There's just so much opportunity here. I like the Slayer team. It appeared on the My Dugout app, along with the Nobility team, which is now here, the Savage Orc team, which isn't, but I think it will be, and the Clan Pestilence teams. And when they all landed, we looked at the AOS kits and thought this is going to be a doddle to make. When it comes to the Slayer team, this is in fact going to be a doddle to make. It's going to be quite low cost as far as a Blood Bowl team conversion comes from, and if you've got a reason to run it on the pitch, it's just going to be great fun. It's a different way to play, and that is basically what Special Teams Sunday is all about. Anyway guys, let me know in the comments what you think of the Slayer team. Whether you're excited by the prospect of a Norse Dwarf hybrid team, because that is basically what this is. And dude, come on. Strength 4 Frenzy Juggernaut. Just absolutely delicious. Anyway guys, thanks very much for watching. I will be back soon with more Blood Bowl content. Happy frenzy blocking, murdering, dauntlessing, mighty blowing, guarding. Thanks very much for watching. We really appreciate your support. If you want to support the show even further, please like and subscribe. It really helps us out. Or come and join us in our Patreon, link below, where you get early access to our content and monthly competitions. See you later.